Well, I'll be honest. I've been really disappointed to learn that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has leaked. And don't worry, by the way, I'm not going to be talking about the leaks. I'm not going to be mentioning them in any way, shape, matter, or form. You are safe here because this is one of the reasons why I come out in defense of Nintendo every once in a while when I hear a story about them going after leakers or hackers, because situations like these, I would much rather somebody be terrified that their entire life could be ruined, that they could go to prison, that they could be paying back Nintendo for the rest of their lives for spoiling something like this, because this is big. And you could say, well, it's just a video game. Well, it's just game. What is big deal? Spoiling something like this that people have been waiting years for. I think it is I think it is just absolutely unacceptable. And I think that people who do it want attention, want to get a rise out of people. Some people, like, I mentioned RGT85. I don't think he would upload stuff like that, but his brand of content, which is I'm going to be first no matter what, no matter if I'm breaking the rules and then I'll complain about it later if they hit me with a violation. You have a lot of people in the West that have that mentality that it doesn't matter what I do, I can do whatever I want. And I hope Nintendo finds these people that are leaking, and I hope they bring down the hammer as hard as they've ever brought it down. I hope that this sends a message to people for generations about what happens when you try to spoil the fun for other people. It's ridiculous. You have all these channels that are desperately trying to avoid talking about, leaks and stuff like that. And I saw, was it Nintendo Prime talking about, well, how can I do Tears of the Kingdom content when somebody can just come into my chat and spoil the whole thing? It's like, yeah, it's a huge issue. But I'm not going to make a video talking at length about the leaks, other than to say that I hope Nintendo catches every one of them and just seals them away, into the dark world. But one thing that I did want to talk about is something that I see popping up, and that is this ridiculous hatred for Tears of the Kingdom. And the thought process from these people is so irrational and so completely counter to everything that we knew about what Tears of the Kingdom was going to be. You had people that made videos saying that they believed that they were promised that Tears of the Kingdom was going to be different. When? When did Nintendo ever promise that Tears of the Kingdom was going to be different than Breath of the Wild? In fact, I would argue that using the same system pretty much guaranteed that it was going to be similar. So here we have Yatab. Somebody recommended this video just for me to take a look at it, but we're going to go over this. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I've watched a little bit of it. We're going to go over this, and I want to debunk this ridiculous sentiment, this entitlement that I see here, because I think it's absolutely important, and this guy's getting absolutely smashed in the comments, and they say it's not clickbait. I don't know if it is or not, but we're going to go over it.
Well, it happened. The gameplay came out, and my worst fear was confirmed. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is going to be complete trash. Now, before you...
I understand what he's doing. It's meant to rile people up. There's for him maybe it's complete trash. For the majority of people, it's not going to be, because Tears of the Kingdom sold better than every other Zelda game combined. Well, I don't know if it's combined, but it's more than every other Zelda game by an order of magnitude. It's not even close. So, it's their biggest seller by far. It's just, the numbers are astronomical how many this game sold.
you click off, before you're a big Tears of the Kingdom fan, build Zelda fan, just wanting to find someone to confirm your hopes and dreams of this game being good, just hear me out. Because, to be honest, I wanted this game to be good too. I had big, high hopes for this game. I've been waiting for 5 years to play this thing. I bought all the DLC for Breath of the Wild. This was supposed to be everything that Breath of the Wild wasn't.
See, this right here is something that I think a lot of people within this Tears of the Kingdom hater group genuinely believes. But I don't understand it. Because this is a guy that says they bought Breath of the Wild, they bought the DLC, but that this game was supposed to be something completely different. No, they never said it was going to be completely different in terms of, well, I mean, they're using the same engine, they're using the same aesthetics, they're using the same everything. The game is different. It's vastly different than Breath of the Wild. We can see that from here. But who promised you that they were going to go from Breath of the Wild to a more traditional Zelda game? Like you're used to, like Ocarina of Time, more linear. Who promised you that? And where did that come from?
And after this most recent gameplay, there are two glaring issues, game-breaking issues with this game that cannot be fixed with a patch. It cannot be fixed with a DLC. It is literally the core mechanics of this game that are going to be so detrimental to the franchise. And I wish that I was wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. But after seeing this gameplay footage, I'm not. This is my worst fear confirmed for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So there's two major issues. The first is bad, but the second is just completely horrible that I am probably not even going to buy the game on release date just because of this.
Okay,
so the first thing that I noticed after seeing all these people play this game is Nintendo freaking forgot what Zelda was about. They forgot what made this game so great. The open world exploration, the feeling of finding something new for the first time. They traded that in for literal like puzzles, like we're in school. We're trying.
That is such bullshit. I recently just played the first Legend of Zelda game. That game was, I mean, if you didn't have a strategy guide when you first played that game, you were fucked. That game was all about exploration, and not even fair exploration. It's like, go to the place where there's not a fairy. It's like cryptic clues. If you didn't know what you were doing, it was a complete and total shit show. But it's so much fun. It's all about exploration, but so is Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is about exploration even on a grander scale. Not only exploring the world, exploring what foods you can eat. It's like, hey, what happens if I mix a banana and a steak and a mushroom? Like, what does it create? It's about creating recipes, finding new ways to kill enemies. You explore the world. You explore every nook and cranny, treasures. You've got Korok seeds if you hate yourself. You've got shrines, which are puzzles, and you can do them if you want, but you don't have to. They're not mandatory. They're not mandatory. There's nothing more explorative than Breath of the Wild. You could decide, I don't want to do any of that. I'm going to discover a way to get to Ganon and destroy all of his puppets, and that's it. I'm done. It's like, I'm going to beat the game like that. The game, you watch speedrunners play Breath of the Wild, it's one of the most satisfying things I've ever seen.
Trying to solve like a little puzzle. Like this whole game is just like a little computer puzzle game that you do in school when you're trying to learn about physics and you're trying to drop the water in the bucket. Like if I wanted to play a game about finding puzzles and stuff like that, I could literally go on Addicting Games mini clips. There's a bunch of literally free Flash player games that have the same exact mechanics as this. Like I don't want to be playing a video game trying to think about solving a puzzle and think about gravity and weight and all that kind of freaking.
Legend of Zelda has literally always been about puzzles. It's literally always been about puzzles. And that's what the game series is about. It's the bread and butter. Maybe you're playing the wrong game. I mean, I don't mean that to be condescending, but maybe you're playing the wrong game. Maybe Mario is more your speed. It's a platformer. You know, it's not really many puzzles there. Although even Mario does have puzzles, so you're kind of fucked.
Crap. I want to be playing a video game whooping mother effing heads. And I'm not going to be able to do that because all this game.
Why don't you play God of War, Ragnarok? Or maybe you don't have a PS5. Um, there are games that you can play that are hack and slash. This is not going to be that though. I mean, there are enemies to kill, but you got to think your way through.
Game is basically a puzzle simulator. They should call this game Zelda Puzzle Simulator with the amount of puzzles that they're putting in it. And I know people are going to be like, oh, wait. But like the dungeons and stuff are puzzles. I'm not talking about those type of puzzles. I'm talking about, look, like this. What is this? Building Simulator? Guys, if you ever played Banjo-Kazooie, it was one of the greatest open world experiences of all time. It was literally revolutionary to the gaming system. And when they came out with the sequel, you know what they tried to do? They said Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. And basically, it was a Banjo-Kazooie game that went from a free open world game to a building game, just like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And guess what? Nuts and bolts literally killed the franchise. This could literally be the last Zelda game we ever see because of this mechanic. Look, like if people want to build, they're going to go play Minecraft. If people want to build, they're going to be a Roblox developer. People don't buy Zelda Tears of the Kingdom to be building houses and building makeshift.
Okay, so from what we've seen here, this game is managing to combine what we know to be a pretty solid story. You know, say what you want about the lack of trailers, but what do we know? Well, Ganon is back, and he is either revived or we find him in the past. The Master Sword is damaged. Zelda is lost in some other realm or dimension or time period. We see a lot of stuff in those trailers. We get a good sense of story. Not to mention the fact that they've completely changed the mechanics of the game. We no longer just have the powers that we had in the other game. So they have done pretty much everything they can to quell the anger and resentment that this game is not going to be worth the 6-year development cycle. Every part of this game is new, is bigger, more ambitious. So I think that these complaints, and I'm going to take you at your word. I know some people may say, well, you know, this guy's just whatever. No, because I know that there are a lot of people that do genuinely think this way. And what I would say is that Zelda has always been about certain elements that we see in Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild, the beauty of it was that it was a Zelda game post-Zelda games. Ganon had already basically won. The Hyrule that we knew was destroyed, basically in ruins. And that was a first time for us, because when we played Wind Waker and Hyrule had been flooded, it was sort of like, yeah, we're at the end of Hyrule, but it was still a civilization. You still had temples, you still had things that were intact. This is a fully defunct Hyrule. And I think that expanding on that and building on that is going to be so exciting. It's going to be very interesting.
Shift forwards that don't even last. That's the issue with all this crap. It's like, okay, if you had to do it one time, great. But no, the new breakable weapon is this game. They fixed the breakable weapon, but now they just have breakable vehicles. These vehicles don't even freaking last. You build a vehicle and it lasts for like 20 seconds. I want to be able to, if I'm going to build a vehicle, if I'm going to spend hours crafting a vehicle, I want it to last more than just 10 seconds.
It completely breaks the game. No, you don't understand. I don't know if you're being authentic here, but no, the reason why the vehicles have batteries is so you literally can't fly from one sky island to the other at first. Because each sky island is going to be dependent on which region you're in. You see, This may be something that's a little over your head, but what the game is trying to do is to make it so that you have to complete a sky island, a series of sky islands in an area, and then drop down to Hyrule and figure out a way to get to the other sky island. And there's going to be a ton of sky islands. This isn't a case of the sky islands are accessible and you can get everywhere. No, there are batteries to keep the limitation there, which is the whole way that the game can actually work. If you were able to just fly anywhere and do anything from the start, it would break the game.
Link has a battery-powered thing on his hip that fuels these so-called vehicles that lasts for like 10 seconds. So if you're going to try to traverse or fly across the world, you literally can't. Or
Yet by design.
You're literally just going to get like an extra little jump. They're basically putting all these mechanics in here to hide the fact that there's really nothing new with this game. There's nothing really new to explore. All these freaking sky islands are all the same. They look like just little fall islands.
No, literally no. Did you not watch the trailer? Jesus Christ! Do I have to go? All right, let's see YouTube. I'm gonna go educate this fool. Okay. Okay. So let's go. So we see what these islands look like, but what I want to do is I want to show you. Yeah, these islands are different. See, these sky islands, they look a certain way, which are different from, which are kind of different from these ones. And where's Lincoln's sight on fighting? Come on, where? You can see the aesthetic of certain sky islands are just different. There was one. Let's see. Did we already pass sight on? Come on. Because I remember that I was watching his scene. I was watching his scene, and there was a moment where you saw his, well, not his, but you saw the sky island around him. Huh. That's over. Come on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. This sky island, look at that. Look at what he's showing here. Like this stuff, it's like looks, kind of like you're like, oh, here's this, basically this golden stuff. Look at this. Does this honestly look to you like it's exactly the same? No, it looks completely different. Because the whole thing is that every area that you go to is going to be different.
I want it to last more of it. I mean, it's going to suck. It's going to be boring. Literally, the only way that you can get to these islands is by... I digress. Now, the second... Oh my gosh. I can't believe they even put this freaking... crap in the game. This is probably one of the biggest issues that I have ever even... I am literally lost for words why the Nintendo developers thought this was okay, how this got approved by management, and how this got put into the final game. And this is one of the biggest, the freaking worst things about Breath of the Wild that has not been fixed. And I literally cannot believe that nobody's talking about this. Maybe it's because this gameplay footage just came out, and maybe I'm breaking the news. Maybe I'm like the news anchor breaking news to the Nintendo fan base. Because if you haven't noticed, Nintendo fans, sometimes they're not all there. Sometimes they really don't.
Dude, you pretentious fuck. Get to the point. If anyone is not all there, it's you. This is one of the most insufferable videos. I understand this could very well be clickbait, but I do know that there are people that legitimately believe this.
Don't know what's going on in the world. They just kind of wander around aimlessly, kind of like these bobogoblins. Like, they just don't...
Bobogoblins? Excuse me. They're bokoblins.
Don't really understand how things work, and they just kind of blindly follow.
All right, so at this point, I'm pretty sure this guy is just trolling for the sake of trolling. I'm pretty sure, but even still, there are people that legitimately believe some of this stuff, and so I think it's still worthwhile to go through it.
They play like Kirby, something like that. That's like what a Nintendo. I'm not a Nintendo fan. Skipping to my loo at the farmer's market, leaving. And why I say that is because these Nintendo fanboys aren't really saying anything because they're just fanboying and they're just skipping through the tulips and they don't even realize the impending doom that's coming to them when they download this game. Because once they play this game and once they see this mechanic, they're going to be put into a state of shock. They're going to be put into a state of frozen osmosis when they realize that not only did Nintendo make Zelda Breath of the Wild exploration game into a literal puzzle simulator, they then had the audacity, the precocity to add the most horrid part of the game back. And I think you guys know what I'm talking about. And I'll give you a little hint. It's getting a little smelly in here. Because in Breath of the Wild, you had to go around and search for 900 Korok seeds. And they helped you up.
All of that fucking blather and bluster and nonsense. Are you fucking kidding me?
Upgrade your abilities. But what was the point of getting 900? Well, you brought it to the big Korok at the end of the day. And what did he bring you? He gave you like a little poopy thing. And guys, I'm here to confirm Korok seeds are back in Tears of the Kingdom. I am not buying this game. Please do not buy this game.
No, I don't think it's been confirmed that Korok seeds are back. Just that Koroks are back, which you would expect. Now, I don't know if they're going to do the seed thing again. I very much doubt it, but they could. Maybe it was confirmed in the art book that I didn't, go through all the way. But the reality is that even if it was in the game, it doesn't change the fact that the game itself, everything that they've managed to accomplish, everything they've managed to add, everything they've managed to innovate, it still remains. They could add in, 1,800, little poop shards from the Koroks. Wouldn't change anything. Now, the reason why I'm giving this video more credibility than it deserves is for the simple fact that I do know that a lot of people believe this sort of thing. This guy may have put it in an over-the-top ridiculous way, but there are people that are legitimately of this mindset that, Zelda should only be a puzzle game, or it shouldn't be a puzzle game, or, there are no dungeons, so therefore it's not Zelda. And it's like, I understand why you may feel that way. I do, on some level. But shitting on this game, I don't think it's good. Because I think that what you're experiencing is something new, and you don't like new. You want Zelda to do the same thing. But here's the reality. The Legend of Zelda before Breath of the Wild. Let's see. Let's look at Legend of Zelda sales numbers. Let's see. Legend of Zelda sales numbers. Okay. On the NES, The Legend of Zelda, it says that it sold 6.5 million units. The Adventure of Link sold 4.38. A Link to the Past, 4.61. Link's Awakening. Wow, it sold that many on the Switch? Wow, that's a lot. Ocarina of Time. Again, 7.6 million. That's a lot. And the 3DS, both of those, that's a lot of units. Majora's Mask, I mean, about half of it. Look at this. 4 million. Wind Waker, 4 million. Let's take a look at the Minish Cap. Not very much. Twilight Princess didn't even break 9 million. I mean, it's still the highest selling Zelda to that point. You look at Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword sold less than 4 million copies. So the reason why I'm pointing this up, 27 million. So I may actually have been right. Maybe not. But The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sold almost, I would say it's in the ballpark of selling about as much as every Zelda game, the first iteration, combined. We're talking about a huge, I mean, if you combine them, that's damn near 30 million. It's more than every other Zelda game by far, by an order of magnitude, and it's not even close. The closest competition, 8.85. We'll add in this one. We'll make it a clean 10. We'll give it the even though it's technically not the same as the HD version. We'll say it's 10 million. This one is damn near 3 times that. So even the best shot of what you want to present as a traditional Zelda game, Breath of the Wild obliterates it, and it's not even close. So, if you're a company and you're looking at this number, why would you go back and say, okay, well, let's do what we did here, or here, or even here? Why would we do that? Why would we make a game that appeals to so few people? Why would we do that? It's a pretty good question. The answer is they're going to do what Breath of the Wild got right and expand on it. I'd be interested to see how many units this new Tears of the Kingdom sells, because it's going to be big. And so that would ultimately be my answer to this. You may not like it, but as the great Macho Man Randy Savage would say, you better accept it. That was his line. You may not like it, but accept it. And what you need to accept is that your idealized version of The Legend of Zelda is gone. A whole new generation and crop of Zelda fans have been introduced to the franchise that were not here before. And this is good. This is more relevance for The Legend of Zelda than ever before. This is growth. And we're seeing that there are elements of The Legend of Zelda here, but it's not the same as what you remember. It's something new. And you should be excited for that and embrace it with an open mind, instead of trying to relive what obviously didn't work. And these things didn't work. This is not the record-setting franchise you think it is. Now, overall, you take a look at 124.2 million. 30 million of that is from one game. So I think that's important to keep in mind. I hope Tears of the Kingdom absolutely crushes records. That'll be it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.